Welcome back to the Creating One podcast, and this is the long and awaited Black Panther Wakanda Forever spoiler review. This is the spoiler review, so if you happen to click on here by accident and you want to see the spoiler-free review, I will link a card for you. The main highlights of the film: the king has transitioned by causes of an unknown virus. Unable to be cured because the purple heart-shaped herb, which was destroyed back in Black Panther under the orders of N'Jadaka, Shuri is plagued with trying to recreate it to save her brother. Her attempt is futile. Queen Raimonda'S enters into the lab and tells her that her brother is now with the ancestors. A beautiful funeral ritual has been on display, and we see a lot of events take place. There is a lot of tears, but there is also a celebration. We see the Dora Milaje and Okoye, a very teary-eyed Okoye, the general of the Dora Milaje, along with other members of the Dora Milaje, carrying King T'Challa's casket. Shuri, plagued with grief, seats his helmet at the foot of his casket. Then we see the casket go from horizontal to vertical positioning, and an overhead air carrier elevates it, and he is taken on for his burial. Next, we have the UN's having Queen Raimonda'S before them. They are disturbed by the fact that Wakanda is not sharing the vibranium with them. There was a STEM location attempt theft there, and the Dora Milaje intervened. Okoye brings them into the UN, has them before the UN. There is also an event going on in the Atlantic Ocean where a blue-skinned people are infiltrating a vessel. We find that these are the Talokans. These are the people who live in Atlantean. The CIA has commissioned a MIT student to help them uncover vibranium. Her name is Shuri Williams. But just like the event that was an attempt on the STEM location in Paris, this is also a failed attempt. In addition, Namor, who is the leader of the Talokan people, comes to Wakanda. He's able to penetrate the veneer of protection. He comes to Queen Raimonda'S and Shuri. He brings the device, the tracking device. He wants them to go and find the person who created it and bring that person to Wakanda, and then call to him through a conch shell, and he would hear and he will come and retrieve the person. At this time, they have no idea until they arrive into the America that this is an MIT student. The MIT student's name is Shuri Williams, and it is apparent that Namor and the Talokan people do not mean to wait. They intercede the attempt to bring Shuri back to Wakanda, and they take her, and Shuri agrees to accompany her because she wants to kind of pick Namor's brain apart, kind of find out if she can come to some kind of solution or an agreement with him to preserve this girl's life. Of course, she's intrigued by her talent when she finds out she's only 19. And because Okoye returns to Wakanda without Shuri, she is stripped of her mantle as the general, and Queen Raimonda'S goes to Haiti in order to seek out the skill set of Nakia. Nakia decides to come back to Wakanda, takes the mission, goes, finds, retrieves Shuri as well as Shuri, and brings them both back to Wakanda. Unfortunately, however, the Talokan people, led by Namor, are right on the heels of that rescue by Nakia. They arrive in Wakanda, a battle ensues. This battle causes the death of Queen Raimonda'S. She is drowned trying to save Riri. We then see another funeral. This time is for Queen Raimonda'S. After this, poor Shuri is in pieces. But she is determined to get revenge. She takes a bracelet that was given to her by Namor when she was in Atlantia. She extracts the DNA from the bracelet, and it is the missing link to help her get to 97% clarity on recreating the purple heart-shaped herb. She drinks the elixir from the heart-shaped herb. She is transported to the ancestral plane where she has an interaction with her cousin N'Jadaka, and she is fueled by not only the fact that she is here and doesn't see her brother, which is what she intended to see. She also realizes that she is going to exact revenge. She wants to avenge the death of her mom, as well as her brother in so many ways, by being able to take up the mantle as the Black Panther. She orders M'Baku to assist her. The battle is fierce, but this time they come to an agreement. Shuri, the Wakandans, with Namor and the Talokans, to be allies of each other, to protect each other from the exploitation by outside influence. And at the very end, we see Shuri leaving, or should I say arriving in Haiti. She visits Nakia, and it is there she decides to finally burn her ancestral robe, the one that she uses for funeral rites. And then we see in the post-credit scene, Nakia introduces her to Toussaint, who is Prince T'Challa. He says, "I am Prince T'Challa, son of King T'Challa." What do we know about the pre-production of the movie Black Panther, Wakanda Forever? We knew that T'Challa was not going to be recast. Now, I didn't know how Ryan was going to script this, but I believe that he would do a fine job once he committed to remaining with it. 3 predictions going into this film. Prediction A, that the movie would take place during the blip. I was wrong, it didn't. Prediction B, that the movie would be a retrospective tale focusing on T'Chaka, his ascension to the throne, and then we would get a chance to see the young T'Challa. But this didn't happen. But we did get a retrospective tale by way of the Talokan people. And C, prediction C, that there would be a child conceived by T'Challa. I didn't know it was going to be Nakia, but I had hoped it was, and it definitely was a child, Toussaint. What we discovered after the production of the movie, Ryan accomplished what he set out to do. He honored Chadwick, dedicating the film to him, and he helped the cast as well as the fans receive what he felt would be a proper closure. He told a story of retrospect, but it was won by the Talokans, and he prepares the franchise to move forward with future possibilities. Surprises in the film, number 1, Queen Raimonda'S death. Now, although I didn't like to see Queen Raimonda'S being unalived, her passing in this world serves several purposes. It pushes Shuri into unimaginable grief, and that drives her out of the lab and into some leadership role. I mean, she's really not needed anymore if you think about it, now that Shuri has amassed the respect to lead. Her death is sort of ritualistic within itself because it moves the culture forward to the next generation, and it progresses this phase of the Black Panther franchise. In reality, Nakia is more queen consort, if you think about it, essentially now as she guides the young prince, even though she doesn't intend to raise him in Wakanda. M'Baku is challenging for the throne, but for now that has been set aside. And recall and pay attention, the challenge for the throne is by ritual combat. So without the herb powering people's strength, I don't see how it's possible for Shuri to take up the mantle physically without the herb generating power for her. It's going to be impossible. But for now, that's something that's muted. But we can pretty much know that M'Baku is likely the king of Wakanda. That is pretty much evident. If we remember from Civil War, with the passing of T'Chaka, and then in Black Panther with the passing of Shuri, and then now with T'Challa and Raimonda'S in Wakanda Forever, we see that these transitions of elders, pretty much like the circle of life, ushers in a new generation. The absence that we saw, or should I say, the absence of Bucky, the last time we saw him, the White Wolf, the adopted son of Wakanda. And I kind of expected to see him, but then I realized, from the Disney series, in his efforts to help Zima escape, Ayo told him never to come back to Wakanda. This was in an episode of The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Also absent from the film was W'Kabi, and that was due to Daniel Kaluuya's prior commitment to another project. Reality checks. We see Anderson Cooper playing himself on a CNN segment. And who still brings the funny, of course, in his scenes are M'Baku. M'Baku enters into the palace eating a carrot. If you remember, he is a vegetarian, even though he comes from a people of large size proportions. He points his carrot at Okoye and calls her a bald-headed demon as they trade barbs with each other, blaming one or the other of who could have guarded the shield best, who failed at it, etc., etc. There's also a pretty funny scene. It's kind of a dry sense of humor scene when Shuri is down in Atlantean. Namor tells her when she wants to go further down to see where the vibranium is and see their worlds, he tells her that the water pressure would, shatter her bones. And then he says, or you could wear a suit. And then, of course, he provides her with the suit. It's the long pause that he makes. He doesn't smile, but he makes this long pause, and you just got to be there to see it. My favorite scenes from the movie is when Ross is sprung from the prison transport vehicle at the end. You can see the license plate. It reads CB 112976. And that is a reference to Chadwick Boseman, who was born on November 29th, 1976. Another favorite scene of mine is when Raimonda'S is testifying before the UN and the Doras march in. And then on cue, the captured military comes in cuffed. And you see Okoye order them to get on their knees. Another scene, Okoye was, when she was back at MIT, she walks out of the dorm bathroom. Now she tells Shuri, I'm going to give you 5 minutes, to bring her down or whatever, and then after that I'm coming in. And when Riri attempts to escape out of the bathroom window, out from the bathroom door, comes Okoye, and she has a spear. It's a funny scene because we see Shuri say, you brought a spear here? And another, one of my favorite scenes is when Nakia is rescuing Shuri and Riri from Atlantis. Just the whole way in which we see her gathering the intel that she needs. She finds where to go, her location and everything. She's got the suit. She goes down. She retrieves them and brings them back to Wakanda. Another favorite scene of mine is when Nakia and Okoye are speaking after Nakia returns from Atlantis. It's following her rescue of Shuri and Riri. And Nakia says, he was king in Black Panther to you all, but to me he was everything. And this comes on the foot of Okoye asking her, why wasn't she there, to see the king, his ancestral funeral rites. She has this look on her face, and you can see it with the actress who is played by Lupita Nyong'o. I mean, you really see the weight of her grief, and it's very subdued. It's not erratic like the younger Shuri, who is for most part young and a child in so many ways. But Nakia, who has seen so much of the world, being a war dog and rescuing people, she chose and selected to mourn him away. And for most part, she did not want to leave her son to come. She felt it wasn't time for his family to meet him. So she remained, and they decided to mourn him in their own way back in Haiti. And of course, the post-credit scene is when we are meeting the young prince, T'Challa. So of course, we will see the name T'Challa again, expected to see that name again arise in the universe, probably likely in phase 5, apologies. I'd like to give a special shout out to Ryan Coogler, first and foremost, because although plagued with grief, he managed to put together an amazing story, and he did an incredible job, not only with bringing it together, but it's a beautiful artistic piece. Let's look at Ruth Carter for a minute. Can we just give her praise? This is now a Academy Award winning costume designer. She has done work for various films, and she does it so well. She has reached a level where she can actually acquiesce assistants, and we meet those assistants. I'll give you a little bit briefing on some of the people who she brought in to help her. And then last but not least, the entire production and cinematic team for not just providing us a beautiful aesthetic of culture on screen, but just a beautiful beautiful piece of artwork all by itself. And I'm always humbled when I see the film, the ornate costumes, the settings, much of what we see is probably likely CGI, but to be able to write this, to sketch it, to design it, to create it, to put it on screen, it's just a beautiful piece. And I do respect them again. I can't wait to see what they have in store. There's some of the most beautiful pieces of aesthetic art that we've seen throughout the entire MCU. So what's to come? We will see that Riri Williams will receive her own arc via a series called Ironheart, and it's going to be on Disney+. The character was created in 2016 by writers Brian Michael Bendis and the artist Mike Deodato. Dominique Thorne, who plays Riri Williams in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, first appearing in the film Black Panther: Wakanda Forever 2022, and scheduled star in the Disney Plus series Ironheart. That will be coming to Disney Plus in 2023. In the comics, however, she is 15. Of course, we know she's 19 and a student. I guess they wanted her to be an adult for very good reasons. They want her to be able to go through some things that would be uncomfortable, likely, to see a child go through them as she battles. My predictions going forward is that Shuri will remain in the lab where she is best suited. Perhaps periodically she might don the suit, but otherwise, for man-to-man combat, I just don't see her being able to do that, especially now without the assistance of the herb. And it's, I think, unfair to allow her to be able to take the herb to increase and improve her strength. I don't think M'Baku knew that she was able to recreate the herb when they did this arm wrestle situation. I think he just felt like whatever it is she's managed to do, she's achieved it, and it wasn't really talked about. But I do believe that going forward, that though the princess might be heir to the throne, she is unlikely going to be the figurehead or the council of rule. It's probably going to go to M'Baku. And of course, there is really no evidence, according to speculation, that women will rule this franchise. I don't think it is. If any group is going to be leading it, it's going to probably likely be the youth. The youngsters will be moving in and taking up the mantle for the Black Panther. It gives the MCU some time to construct, of course, the new phase across the entire network. And while doing it, we'll probably be seeing the kids being utilized as the young Marvel ventures throughout probably some Disney franchises and series. Not only was this film a dedication to Chadwick Boseman, personally, I feel that Dorothy Steele, who was born on February 23rd, 1926, and she transitioned 10/15/21. Deserves some honor. This woman, this wonderful lady, started with an idea to become an actress at the age of 80, and she achieved it. And it's another way I want to thank Ryan Coogler for giving her an opportunity to live her dream. He didn't just cast her in this film, though she had some guest roles here and there in other projects, but he made her an elder, and we got a chance to see her beautiful spirit sitting in her garb, and just another echo of how much respect he gives to his pieces of work. Okay, so that is all that I have for Black Panther Wakanda Forever. If you have any opinions, any predictions, what you like, what you didn't like, what you thought about how Ryan decided to take the lead, or take how he wanted to retell the story, even though they went through several scripts and rewrites and stuff. What do you think about what he did with what he had and the honor that he gave to Chadwick Boseman? What do you think is going to happen in the next phase? What do you see? Do you believe that Shuri will be the Black Panther? Do you think it's more precedent for M'Baku and someone else who is physically capable to actually battle for that, which is according to the ritual of the book of Wakanda, they're supposed to battle, and the person who wins the battle not only is the Black Panther, but is also the king or the monarchy of Wakanda. I won't say it's king, it could be a woman, whoever wins the battle. But at any rate, that is all I have for now, and I will see you in the next movie review. Thank you.